Well, GearBest have kindly sent me the largest quad I think I've had to review for any company. Certainly the largest box. This is a WLtoys Q303, as you can clearly see. It is a seriously large box, and looking forward to getting into it. So I'll just quickly run through the outside. It's well packaged. I think it's pretty well protected. There's no damage done to it. It came well packaged from GearBest as well. I've got the, as you can see here, the 303A, which has got the 5.8 gigahertz FPV system, so it's the top of the range one, I think, and I look forward to going through it, to be honest. I'm just going to quickly run around the box, the usual sort of photographs and a quick explanation of what it comes with. I'm interested to have a look at the camera and see how good a quality that is, because getting up to this level you should start getting some really decent footage off your camera. And the FPV and the transmitter as well. Obviously I'll be going through all this in the review, and then on this end it just runs through the quick few features that they want to highlight to you, and then underneath you've got all the normal warnings and everything. So without further ado, let's get this out of the box and see what we get. As you would expect, very well packaged. It's this sort of moulded plastic, so it's very well protected indeed. Got the instructions loose on the outside, and we'll be going through those in a minute. And then just simply off with the top, and then everything's easy accessible, but everything's held in place really well actually. So impressed with the packaging and the boxing to start off with. So let's get this out on the bench. Okay, so this is everything unpacked. And as you can see, everything is black, which looks rather smart actually, I think. The actual quad itself comes fully assembled. The camera's fitted, the gimbal, the anti-vibration and everything is all on board. So it's plugged in as well, so it's ready to go, which is excellent. All you've got to do is charge the battery, and I'll do that in a second. It's got that sort of sprayed rubber finish, that sort of soft feel to it, which is rather nice. And the quad seems reasonably robust. I mean, it's certainly not very heavy, but it certainly seems fine. Actually, I'll weigh it and put the weights down the bottom there, just with and without the battery. Talking about the battery, yes, sort of first fall before we even get started. It's a proprietary battery, which is a little bit of a shame, because I've got loads of quads now, and I like to use the batteries off other quads so that I get more flights when I'm out with a certain quad. But never mind, I've had quite a few quads now that have just their own battery, which is fine. You get the usual complete set of 4 props, and you've got prop guards as well. I shan't be flying with them on, but if you're new to flying, or you just prefer with prop guards on, you're flying confined areas perhaps, then they're there for you and they fit quite simply. You've got the transmitter itself, and I'll run through all the functions of that in a minute. You've got your 4.3 standard sort of FPV screen. It's an HD screen, so it should be quite nice quality, they usually are. And you've got a rubber duck or stick antenna there as well for the 5.8 FPV. You've got your charger, which is a USB charger for charging up the screen itself. And then you've got a USB to micro SD card there, and you get a little 4 GB card in there as well. You've got the actual charger housing for the battery itself, and then you've got a mains adapter as well. So I've got the batteries on charge for the FPV screen and also for the quad itself. So while that's doing that, always a good time to go through the instruction manual. This one is one of my sort of pet hates. This one's in Chinese and English, and it's, you know, sort of split up over the page, so you've got both the translation and the English in one line. So I always find it really confusing to find what you want, and same here. So you've got a bulk of text, a paragraph, and you've got another paragraph in Chinese. So just a pet hate of mine. You'll notice around the channel it's something I whinge about quite a lot. The general instructions themselves, the translations aren't good. If you're new to quads, I think you'd find it really quite confusing. It does all sort of make sense, but no, some of the translations are not great, but that happens quite a lot, and the layout is not the easiest either. And again, this Chinese English thing again, which I keep banging on about, does actually make it quite difficult to find the bits, especially if you're new to quads. I think you find this really confusing. I don't know why they do it this way, but it's just the way it is, so that's the way I'm telling you. It does run through how everything works, how you would fly a quad if you were in it for the first time, and the explanations are reasonable, but like I say, Chinese to English isn't great. And you've got your if you're troubleshooting, stuff like that in here as well, and then it's got the parts list and sort of exploded view of the quad as well, and then how the parts would be identified. So that's, yeah, it's not bad, not the best I've seen, not the worst either. And then there's just one separate piece of paper about the FPV screen, running how to put on the antenna and how it connects to the camera and everything. Quite simple, quite simply done as well. But again, Chinese and English, and as I said, not one of my favourites, I must admit. It's a 720p screen, so it should be good. It's HD quality, so it should be pretty good when we get it out on the quad anyway. So insert the micro SD card into the camera with the connectors pointed downwards. I simply pop it in like that, and then it just clicks into position. So the transmitter, I'm going to run through all the functions on it now. A function I've not come across before on any other transmitter is at the moment it's in mode 2 flying basically. So throttle's on the left here, and as you can see this one's loose. This one's centraled, and this is our pitch and roll, so that's quite normal. And to swap to mode 1 you need the throttle on here and pitch and roll on here. What you do here is you pull down here, which is quite a physical sort of thing to push down. If you saw, the sticks actually changed. Now this one has become centered and sprung loaded, and this one is now the throttle. So it actually physically changes it. It's quite, I've not had that before. I've had it that they both sit, if on altitude hold, they both sit there, so you can do it. But this is quite a different way of doing it, but certainly good. I don't know anyone that flies in mode 1, but if you did, that's all you have to do is just change it like that. So it's quite good system, I suppose. And so on, more to do with the transmitter itself and its functions. So simply I'm going to plug the battery into the quad itself. You get flashing LEDs, and hopefully you can see they're pretty bright flashing LEDs as well. They're rather good. And then I'm going to turn on the transmitter itself, and then the flashing LEDs will stop flashing and they just become static. Now we're actually bound, so we're ready to take off. So the throttle must be at the bottom, by the way, when you turn the transmitter on, or it should be at the bottom anyway. You're not going to get a flyaway then. I found an interesting thing, I don't know whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. If you accidentally press the altitude hold, which is the right hand button here, you don't get anything changing, don't get the LEDs changing on the quad, but they do change when you're actually up in the air. But what does happen is if I start to put the throttle up, absolutely nothing happens, and you have to get up to about 75%, and then they're very slow. So just be warned of that. You might think there's something wrong with your quad, and actually you might just have activated that. The warnings on the transmitter I'm not particularly impressed with. I like quite loud beeps actually, because then I know I've activated something or touched it accidentally. When you're outside and you press this, the beep is so quiet you don't actually know it's done anything, and there's no warnings on here at all of what's happening either. But you do get the flashing LEDs on the quad itself. So let's run through the rest of the controls. If I move my hand out of the way, this control, which normally a trim, actually alters the angle of the camera, and then the camera will hold that angle, and you can do that in flight as well, so that's rather good. The other trim buttons are trim buttons. Just running around the top ones, you've got your flip button here, and then you've got your rates adjustment here. So if I press this, you'll see it's on 40 at the moment. You get that tiny little beep. 60, 80, I'll shut up and let you hear the beep this time. It's really quiet. And then you're up to 100%, and then it cycles through, so press it again, it'll come back around to your 40. To activate video, you simply press this top button here, and you get video, and you get a flash of function there, but that's all you get. And there's nothing telling you there's a video running. So, and to stop the video, there is a little LED flashing on the camera, which you can't see from this angle, that it is actually videoing, but there's no other warnings about it. To take a photograph, you simply press this one, and then again you get the same beep, and obviously it's just taken a photograph and then stops. To pop it into headless mode, you press this one, and then you do get that beep, constant beep, but it's really quiet. It is very, very quiet. And to be honest, I've been out flying it, put it in headless. I hadn't even heard that, to be honest. So, and there's no flashing LEDs again. So, a little bit disappointed that there's not alerts and warnings and things like that on it. But the transmitter actually feels quite good in your hands. It's quite a sort of heavy-ish transmitter. It is a toy grade transmitter. It's not going to profess to be anything else, but it does work okay, but it has got a little bit of weight to it as well, which is rather good. I'm just a little bit disappointed about the feedback, to be perfectly honest. To attach the screen, you simply put this little U-shaped clip into the slot here, the little door opens and it just clicks into position. Lift up the sunscreen and you're ready to go.